Hey guys, Becky from Bex and Books. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with my April wrap up, and I read a total of 5 books, but they were pretty much from my TBR pile. So I'm pretty ecstatic about that I actually stuck to my TBR pile, and I didn't read any ebooks, but they were all physical copies. So let's get started. I finally completed the Percy Jackson series with Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian, all by Rick Riordan. I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it so immensely. It concluded fantastically. I cannot even get over why it took me so long to pick this book up, and I think obviously I would have enjoyed it a lot more as a young reader, but I did appreciate it just as much as an adult. So I definitely recommend picking it up if you have not. It kind of feels like Harry Potter, but in like a Greek mythology way, which is great, and I think a more younger audience way as well. The next book I read was Finding Me, and this is by Michelle Knight with Michelle Burford. This is actually a true story of what happened when she was kidnapped. It's called The Cleveland Kidnapping, a memoir of it. I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars, obviously, because I feel that you shouldn't be even rating these ones. There is no doubt in my mind that it will be always a 5 out of 5 stars, but you just can't really critique it. It's you reading someone's memoir. It doesn't have to be how crappy the writing is or how it's read or something. This is just someone's story, and you should appreciate them telling you their story in the first place. So I appreciated Michelle's tellings of this amazing story and the strength that this girl has gone through, and I feel very inspired by her that she's continued with her life, and even now how she's just trying to just make it through every single day as if it's her last, basically. So it definitely got me to want to live my life to its very fullest. So thank you, Michelle, for writing this memoir. I'm very glad that you are able to continue with your life the best way you can, even after something like this has happened. The next book I read is Charlene Harris's After Dead. This is the kind of what happened after the Sookie Stackhouse novels. So it's not really like a story as such. It just tells you like a bit of each character and what actually happened for each character. So it's alphabetically popped in, and like every single character, no matter how small they were, as long as they were pretty much alive by the end of the Sookie Stackhouse series, they are definitely in this book to tell you how they lived the rest of their life, and whether they grew old or died from a certain illness, etc., etc. So I really appreciated Charlene Harris actually writing this book. It concluded everything so nicely, and it gives you just a little bit more to go with, and I am now ready to let her go and reread the books again. So this one I rated a 5 out of 5 stars, also because I mean it's just very clever that Charlene was able to do that for all our sakes. And I really loved that her message at the end of the book, it was just quite, because you've like basically read everything that she wrote for the past like 13 plus years or so, and you've basically grown with her writing as well, and you just sort of feel like a personal link to her, especially when you invest so much time in someone's writing and book world that they have created. So I appreciate the really gorgeous message she had, and how she thanks us so much, and that she's ready to start off with some new characters in her next series and let go of Sookie. So I loved that she also did that. The next book I read was finally Divergent by Veronica Roth. I enjoyed this so much. It took me like practically a day to read. I could not put this book down. It's like 500 plus pages or so, and I just couldn't put it down at all. I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars wow, I cannot believe, like, I've watched the movie, but just reading it was just so amazing. This dystopian world, the way everything was, it was just so completely different, and I loved it. And I don't know what took me so long, and I know that's what everyone basically says when they read a book, that they've held off for so long. But I'm so glad that I read this book finally, and I'm actually up to the third one, which I'll be reading this month, so to conclude the series. But I also finished Insurgent, which is book 2 by Veronica Roth. Also, this one was about a 3.5, 4 out of 5 stars. Everyone kept saying it goes downhill after the first book, and I didn't really think that was possible, but then I read it and I got why. Like, I think that this book is very, I don't know, it's kind of like lacking in something, and the way that she was continuing the story, how she changed Triss's, I guess, personality in some way, kind of, I don't know, it's so hard to say things without spoiling it, but I would say there's a trigger warning to it, because emotionally and post-traumatic stress symptoms, or people that deal with that kind of stuff, will actually feed on these emotions a lot, and I believe that it will trigger something from them. So I will say be wary and watch out for this sort of trigger. But I did find my emotions all over the place reading from Trish. She was just so frustrating. Why? Like, I mean, you were so headstrong, and it just went downhill. Like, what do you want, Trish? Just say it. Like, oh. And then, of course, it left it with a great cliffhanger, and then you're just like, holy crap. Really? Like, oh. Anyway. Overall, I had a pretty good reading month. Obviously, I would like to read a lot more, but you know what? I read the first 2 books within like the first week and a half of April, and then I read nothing for like 2 weeks, and then I read all of a sudden all 3 of these like the last week of the month, and I'm like, see, I could have read so much more, but I fell into a slump again in between, so can't help that, can we? But thank you guys. Shit, sorry Candace. So thank you guys so much for watching my wrap up. Let me know down below whether you read any of these, and if you agree with what I kind of was rambling on about, or what you guys read last month. Also, keep your eye out for my May TBR. So until next time, happy reading. Bye.